Hi, it's Larry Shiller, voice of Backgammon. We're broadcasting with Ben Friesen for the second Merit Open in Dubrovnik. At the Dubrovnik Grand Prix, we have a match to 13 with Tobias Hellwag and Petko Kostadinov. And they're getting started. They're putting the dice down right now, and this is a first for us. We're not live. I mean, we're live, but we are not actually in Dubrovnik. Ben, where are you located? Ben's in Michigan, and I'm in Wilton, Connecticut. And we're broadcasting through the miracle of the internet. Ben is doing live XG analysis in this match to 13. Very exciting. This is a big experiment. He is, yeah. I mean, Tobias is known as the ambassador of backgammon. He's the international backgammon ambassador. And we have an opening roll. All right. So he brought down, and usually you do that when you're a little bit behind in a match and you're going for a gammon, playing a priming game. Hopefully, if your opponent runs, you can pounce on them. But, you know, it's very, very close. There are several ways to play an opening 3-2. I guess there's 4 ways to do it. And they're all pretty close, but... And it looks like double sixes. What a nice comeback. So double sixes for Tobias. And looking good. And, you know, this board is not positioned the way we normally see it. In other words, Tobias is on the left and Petko's on the right. So... and we might, that's one of the things we're going to do. There's a 6-2 for Tobias, and he's got that back checker. Doesn't that hit? Or he came in, well, must have come in with a 2, and he's looking for a 6. And, you know, Petko has some... Now, he lives... I think he's from Bulgaria, and he lives in... is it South Carolina? But he is now an American citizen, I understand, and yet he still likes to travel to Europe and play those tournaments. Bulgaria, he grew up in Bulgaria, and he started playing when he was at the age of 11, and he got his first lesson from his grandmother. And his grandmother said the first lesson he got, he never forgot it. And it really wasn't actually the conventional wisdom of the day, but it turned out his grandmother was very smart because she said, on your opening roll, if you can make with a 3-1, 4-2, 5-3, or 6-4, she said, make a point. And when he was growing up, a 6-4 wasn't the recommended play, but it is today, by and large, in many cases. Well, he has to leave that blot in the outfield because he can't play ones or threes. Oh, okay. And that's great because red, Petko, is really pretty stripped on all his points. It's going to be hard for him to move. He'll probably have to break the 8-point unless he rolls a 1. If he rolls a 1 and anything except a 1-4, he can cover something in his home board. No, but a 1-4 lets him cover on. Nope. Yeah, 1-4 doesn't cover. And we hear Arda Findoklu in the background. Findoklu. Arda is one of the, if not the preeminent tournament director in the world. He runs the largest tournament in the world, the Merit Open in Kyrenia. And we can hear some discussion in the background with Arda. And I'm going to bring up Twitch just on my phone just to see how that looks right now. We're broadcasting at twitch.tv/voice of Backgammon, also at YouTube, on Facebook Live, all simultaneously. In the world, he runs the largest tournament in the world. And it looks pretty good. Ben, looks nice. So we can hear some discussion in the background with Arda. That looks great. All right, and so this game is pretty I don't know if it's a classic holding game. It's not a classic holding game. Petko is holding his opponent's 5-point. See how that looks right now. We're broadcasting at twitch.tv, and also at YouTube, on Facebook Live. Wow. And Ben, I have a question for you. You've got the checker colors as white and black. Can we change? I assume the white or ivory is red. Yeah, and your red is hard to see now. Maybe we can make it a little bit lighter. Do they have an orange color? I know it won't exactly match the checker, but... All right, now Petko's on roll. And what do we have for a pip count? Wow. Down by 33 pips. Yep, it makes sense because he's got 8 checkers outside his home board. Tobias only has 5. But good luck for Tobias getting those 5 checkers. That's not going to be easy. And even double sixes, how do you play double sixes? Well, you play it to minimize the blots, obviously, but, even that roll is going to leave a shot. And so Petko thinks about doubling and then throws the dice. Or I think, though, actually it was Tobias's roll. And Tobias has, what, a 2-1? No, that is, yeah, it's got a 2-1. Well, he's got a nice-looking home board. Well, the other option for him, I mean, Petko has a spare on his midpoint. But if Tobias moves those 3 checkers to the 9 point, makes his 4 point, he also has a spare that he can play as long as he rolls something less than a 9 or less, when the odds are he will. And then Petko will have to be the first one to break. This is a game of chicken. Like, who's going to break first and leave the shot first? That's really what this is about. Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. If you're going to take the risk, at least do it when you have some chance of getting a return shot. And Petko, what does he have? 6. Doubles. We're calling double sixes. So. And Ben, may I ask you one more thing? I don't know if anyone else watching this, and if viewers prefer it this way, great. But to have 4 decimal places is so much. So you have your display to 4 decimal places, like Tobias's equity is minus 0.2900. I mean, I'm very impressed that you have it to 4. Believe me, that's amazing. It's like you care about that 4th decimal place. Says, oh my gosh, this guy's a serious backgammon player. But I mean, you hit on the 2 point. You're in great shape. Now, do you take this double? Yeah, I don't see how you can take this because Petko has 3 checkers in the outfield. So even if Tobias rolls a 6, Petko's going to have 2 shots to return. What's his role? I go for the hit before we see XG. Bring it in the 4-point. Oh no! Does it matter? I can't see his roll. No, he didn't. Double sixes didn't leave a shot. Yeah, but the 3 off come from the 6-point. Oh, just now you're saying? Oh, I see. I got you. Oh, in this roll. Right, right. I think there's a delay. All right. Yeah, we're broadcasting live. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch.tv. Yes. Yes. It does. Well, I think, oh, are you watching Twitch or are you watching YouTube? Good. So we are watching the same thing. The only reason I could think of, since we're both accessing the same, is just our internet speeds are different. Was there a gammon on that game? Did he get a gammon? No. Oh, all right. He won a gammon. Petko made a gammon. Wow. He was a boy. Not a high probability of a gammon in that situation. Petko got very lucky. What's the luck factor look like? That's all. Just yeah. He won 4 points. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. It was a 4 cube. It was not a gammon. No, it was not a gammon. My bad. So it was a 4 cube. I wasn't following the rolls, but it looked like Petko was just peeling off those checkers pretty quick. It's like ice melting in the Arctic. I mean, that was fast. All right, so we're in just the second game, and Petko's playing a little over 2.4 PR. He is such a strong player, just a world-class player, as is Tobias. Tobias's PR is coming down. It's only had two blunders. And that's what's so great about Backgammon and this whole community. The people are wonderful people. It's and looking at this game, Tobias has a wonderful board and outfield. He's got a 4-point prime, and he's ready to attack. Petko came in on the 4-point. And Ben, it looks like you've caught up. And by the way, as Ben does this, it's totally impressive to me, and I expect to you too, that Ben Friesen is able to rewind video, fast forward video, get all these rolls in place. It's an amazing ability that he has to do this, and I'm in awe, frankly, of how he's able to keep up and keep track of this. And it's so helpful for the Voice of Backgammon audience for him to do this, because we get to see live how these players are doing their game. And it looks like there's a drop, and Tobias has won his first game. He was so strong with his outfield prime. A drop makes perfect sense. And so Petko's up 4-1 in this match to 13. Both players are playing very well. Luck is very even in this game. 0.3 is the factor. And some other interesting information about these guys. Petko, he loves to play chouettes. And his favorite, he loves to play with Carter-Matic. Who doesn't like to play with Carter-Matic? And stick. Totally fun. He would like also, he'd love to see mandatory use of the baffle box, which is interesting because they're not using the baffle box in this match. But Petko's a big fan of the baffle box. And he would also like to see touch moves. Isn't that interesting? Like, you don't hear too many people talking about that. Backgammon people play, they move the checkers around, they try to see. In chess, if you touch a piece, you got to move it. But in backgammon, players, especially with doubles, there's so many possibilities. And just to look at the board. And so Petko says, play touch moves. That would add a tremendous amount to the game, actually, in terms of strategy and the ability to visualize. And I think it would put some people at a great advantage and others at a great disadvantage if that were, in fact, the rule. I'm one of those. But that said, I wouldn't object necessarily to it. All right, now Tobias is looking carefully at this double sixes, which is a great roll. The only problem is he can't cover the blot on the 4-point. He needed 2s or 4s to cover, 2s, 4s, or 6s to hit and cover, by and large. And so no matter what he does with this double sixes, he's going to be leaving some shots. But he can point on the 2-point and bring a checker down and out, or he could make this play and have a really strong outfield and force Petko to roll a 2. If he rolls a 1 or a 6, though, Petko's going to hit on the bar and let him do a priming game. So this is turning into a PvP, or prime versus prime type of game, where it's anybody's game. So then really that's what Petko's thinking about right now, and Tobias. They're both thinking, what kind of game plan do I want, and what kind of game plan will my opponent have? And then, look at the probabilities and say, well, if it's PvP, prime versus prime, that's pretty close to 50-50. And so if there's a riskier approach, or a less probabilistic approach, then that will be the choice. But it looks like Tobias went ahead and did the prime versus prime, and boy, did that pay off, because Petko didn't hit Tobias has a 6-point, is it a 5-point prime in front of Petko. Petko's in deep trouble this game. And what do? Do you play for a gammon? You know, you have a 5-point prime, looking great. Do you double this out? Or do you, because you're way ahead in the race. If you wait and you leave a shot, you know what Petko is going to be doing is building his home board, hoping to get a shot. And Tobias did cube, and I don't know, so earlier. So Petko does have the cube at 2, and Petko's got to be nervous that Tobias is going to win a gammon this game. Decent chance of a gammon. Probably 20%, I'm guessing. Can we check that? Ben is getting caught up. So while Ben's doing that, Tobias did hit, has a broken 5-point prime, so he is going for the gammon. He came in the 1 point and is able to really button up his home board, so it's a nice roll for Petko to come in. And Tobias now is, you know, looking to close out his home board. He'd sure like to make that 3-point. And he'd like to make his 8-point, but really what he'd like to do is clear his 2 checkers from the midpoint, because Petko has a nice board, and Tobias does not want to be caught stuck behind that board. So leaving a shot is really not something he wants to do. And so they've all cleared each other, and the contact is almost done, except for Petko's lonely checker in Tobias's home board. And you can see they've got the, you know, Petko is properly built to prime in case he gets a shot. That allows him to take more risk to come up. And he's a little behind in the race, maybe, I don't know, 10 or 12 pips. How far is he behind in the race? Maybe 15 pips. I haven't done a pip count. As soon as Ben catches up, we'll get this. I mean, red is Petko rolls the 2, or he comes in on gets hit and comes in on a 3, and obviously does not have a 3-5, or he'd be playing it. And what does Tobias roll? Does he roll? It's a 1 and a 4. Well, he can hit and lift, and that gives him a little bit of time. But there is the 3-4 from the bar. That would be a disaster for Tobias. And so Petko has a chance. That's the beauty of backgammon. And basically, it's a lock. If he rolls a 3-4, he's going to win this game. And Petko does stay out. And now there's a 5-1. So Tobias is not able to close out his home board. He does leave a 3-6 shot. And now Tobias rolls, hoping to close out his home board. Is that a 2-1? I can't. Well, he does close it out. And he's rolling a 2-1. The question is, does he go for the gammon here, or just simply play safe by taking 2 off 5 to 4? Gammon probability is close to, you know, is well under 10%. But he's going for it. He is going for it. And that's the question, you know, is the reduced probability, you know, so here's the decision that Tobias is thinking about. Like, okay, if I play just a completely even game and don't leave a shot, I pretty much give up the chance for a gammon. But then if I play for a gammon, the probability of my leaving shot is higher, and the probability for Petko to win is higher. And so here you see a position where Tobias has 6 numbers that are going to leave a shot next time. And unless Petko comes in with a 6 and not a 4. So that's where we're at. And what did Petko come in on? So, Ben, mine's frozen. I don't know about yours, but mine is frozen. And Petko came out with a 6, and he's going to get into his home board, and there's no gammon on this game. Petko successfully avoided the gammon, but lost the game. So it's 4-3. And Petko is playing at a world-class level, 3.25. And he's winning the match 4-3, but his luck is minus 1.4. So he's making the best of his dice, that's for sure. All right, Ben is catching up here. I can't actually see the dice from my board. So let's see if I bring up YouTube. Maybe it'll be easier for me.